I packed my bags and I left for Mumbai almost 21 years ago. So it's a wonderful kind of, it's one of those milestone moments. It's a core memory.
I have to quickly ask you that because it's not often that you get to be in the same room with your parents and being honored in front of them these days because, you know, you're all over the world. So how does that feel, being in front of your parents? And let's also hear it for the parents of Nimrat Kaur. These are the two people who've raised her and made her into, of course, the woman achiever that we have on our screens.
Yes. What was your question? I've just lost track.
How does it feel to be in front of them today as well, being
feel
honored?
like, you know how in school we used to be on stage and, performing something, and there's a little bit of nervousness. This is not the day I want to say something that I shouldn't be saying, or, not something that, I would be like, oh my God, I should have said this, and I don't want to go back home thinking or feeling that. So it's like being back in school a little bit with, my family in the audience. And again, like I said, being in Delhi is always so special for me. I've done a bit of my schooling here in DPS, and Sri Ram College of Commerce is my college, and I'm just throwing all my Delhi connections out for anyone who may connect.
अब दिल्ली की बात हो गई तो our digital partners also foodie. Are you a foodie? We are in Delhi where a lot of foodies are there.
दिल्ली में रहने वाली सरदारनी. अब आप दोबारा सवाल पूछिए.
Foodie कैसे नहीं हो सकती फिर?
Exactly.
फेवरेट क्या खाना क्या है? चीट मील क्या है?
चीट मील देखिए, क्वांटिटी वाइज तो राजमा चावल हो ही जाता है, क्योंकि उसकी 3 हेल्पिंग से कम तो कुछ बात होती नहीं. कड़ी चावल आई रियली लव. बाकी तो मैं लिस्ट दे सकती हूँ. रसगुल्ला, रसमलाई, मम्मा, एनीथिंग एल्स, व्हाट एल्स एम आई फॉरगेटिंग? काफ़ी बहुत चीज़ें हैं. बहुत बिरयानी, mutton biryani, golgappe. I can go on. It's going to be a long list.
I can figure the list goes on. We can, as she said, she answered the question in that first answer only. Now let's just talk once again, of course, before we get to your journey and success, Nimrat, about, since it is the Shakti Awards today, where do you derive your Shakti from?
I think, well, it kind of circles back to my upbringing. I feel like, which has its roots in the army. The environment that I grew up in, the cantonment life, the kind of schooling I was fortunate enough to get, the upbringing I've had thanks to my family. It's like, I think you're a sum total of so many different parts of life, people who come and influence you by virtue of what they do and by virtue of what you watch them doing and you don't want to do also. I think you learn a lot from that too. It's not just, taking inspiration from people constantly and wanting to be like them and all of that. I derive I think my life force really comes from not giving up. And that is something that is so deeply ingrained in my upbringing that giving up is not an option. You might fail, you might have pitfalls, you might have problems, roadblocks. And as women, I'm sure a lot of you concur here that it's not an easy world to navigate, and I don't mean to, kind of play a woman card here and say that, oh, it's more difficult for us. It's not really that, but it becomes more challenging because you have to kind of have, a grip on multi-layered issues sometimes. And I feel like just, having the grit to not give up, I think that really just keeps you going. That's what I feel I keep coming back to.
But that's where you get your Shakti from. But then do you believe that it's not easy being a woman in an industry like yours, which is a public industry? The constant scrutiny, the paparazzi culture now, social media. Do you have to have a very thick skin for this?
You know what? I don't know how many women might agree with me here, but I think if you really want to step outside your comfort zone and make a mark, anywhere, it's just a comfort zone. It could be something you can be doing within the confines of your household, right? You have to have a perception of you that people will not allow. Somewhere, you need to have that kind of self-belief and that kind of clarity that this is my vision, this is where I'm headed, no matter what, this is what I'm going to do. I don't believe that a Colonel Sophia Qureshi or a Wing Commander Vyomika Singh had it easy. I don't think they had it easy. I think their world and their lives would have been so difficult. And in an environment that is predominantly recognized by the male representative, you see. We get talked about, you see, because it's a glamorous world. There are cameras, there's a journalistic perspective on it, and then there is a voyeuristic perspective on it. That is what changes the game. We don't have a voyeuristic perspective on most professions, apart from, I think, a few which are in the public eye. It can be politics, it can be actors, their personal lives, or the lack of it, whatever. You know, it's just what you choose for yourself as noise and what you want to keep. You see, because with all of this rubbish and all of the noise, there's also a lot of love. And there's a lot of love that you feel without you really meeting people. I can just be passing by somewhere and, you know, I can feel that someone's seen something and, you know, they smile at me knowingly. So there are, you know, everything is a double-edged sword. I feel like because of, you know, us being in the public eye, it is always going to be a complex world. Yeah.
This year, as I said, you've had a big screen release, which did very, very well. Sky Force, and you just mentioned Wing Commander Vyomika Singh, interestingly as well. You've had Kul, where you play royalty. Today you're looking no less. Is this a conscious decision to straddle both mediums, or are you just looking at projects and not looking at the medium where they release? Because आजकल बड़ा OTT versus theatre debate चल रहा है, you know that.
I think आजकल debate सिर्फ good content versus bad content है. Because हम जो चीज़ हमें देखनी है ना, हम पाताल लोक तक जाएंगे, pun intended. You know, हम कहीं भी जाएंगे उसको देखने के लिए.
सैयारा बन जाएंगे.
हाँ, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. Family man भी है. You know, what I'm saying is basically that हमें जो देखना है हम कहीं भी देखेंगे, वो OTT पे हो, बड़े पर्दे पे हो, TV पे हो, जहाँ भी हो. It's good content versus bad content, and it's also so subjective that what I want to watch you may not. So what I do is that what I feel like watching, I want to be a part of, and if it works out, fantastic. If not, on to the next. So what's happened thanks to the OTT world is that the choices have expanded. I'm able to experiment much more. मज़ा बहुत आ रहा है, अलग-अलग कहानियाँ सामने आ रही हैं. You're able to deep dive into very different multi-layered characters, and, you know, you're able to represent very different kinds of people. Which I really enjoy a lot. So it doesn't matter. You know, sometimes we start a project with the, you know, daydreams of it releasing on the big screen, etc. And then, you know what, lo and behold, kuch mahine baad OTT pe zyada sense ban rahi hai. On paper, it makes more sense for it to release there. So you can't really preempt these things anymore. So you have to go with your gut, decide what you want to do, and then give it your best and hope the audience enjoys it. I think that's all.
You know, there's also, of course, these days, a lot of not just social media pressure on people in the public eye, as you were saying, of course, naturally scrutiny wahan hai, but also on the youth, you know, these days. The youth also have this, you know, I mean, they're constantly wanting to live life through social media. That puts a lot of, you know, pressure on them, beauty-wise as well. Do you believe that's unfair pressure these days being put on people to look a certain way? And how can the youth and others combat that pressure?
It's a very tricky one, you know, and I don't know how many adults are able to escape that either. You know, it's not just teenagers or young adults, or I find it overall very, very disturbing sometimes, because your lived experience, what you make of life, is no longer independent. You see, I mean, at the risk of sounding like I know, you know, better because I didn't have social media in my life, I feel like I grew up making my own decisions and inferences about life, you know, and they are very small little things. They're not big decisions, they're small things. Whether I want to take arts or science, or whether I want to do a certain kind of a course or not, what kind of clothes I want to wear. They came from within, or maybe my friends. You know, things that were visible to me within my periphery. Here, what's happening is that the exposure is so large and so unnecessary. There's so much unnecessary information coming at us. And sometimes in the garb of entertainment or harmless gossip, or, you know, arey ye to mazedar hai, this is meme material, or it's all highly toxic and highly unhealthy. What are we taking home? What are we taking back to our, you know, core memories? What are we taking? That is what is important, and that is something that, is the dog wagging the tail or is it the other way around? What is going on? I don't really know what the answer is. I don't know how people can cope that. The not so smart smartphones are not really our friends, if we don't know how to really put a leash on it and figure out. Personally, I've had to discipline myself a lot because there's a lot of time, things can just really disturb you. And especially for young minds who are clearly, hormonally more impressionable, they can't help themselves. It's very difficult, and sometimes the world is so harsh, so judgmental. I personally feel that, some systems need to come in place, some kind of online filters or online disciplining, perhaps.
I started out by saying also that, you're not just popular in India, but across the world. You were probably amongst the first in your peers to actually go abroad and, do a project like Homeland. The Lunchbox was so well received internationally as well. Interestingly, your co-star also did a lot of work abroad, the late Irfan Saab. How was that experience for you, Nimrat? Would you be open to do more work there? Or do you believe that also, I remember Dasvi, we were speaking, कि सबको लगा Nimrat Hollywood चली गई, India में नहीं काम करना है इनको. So are you open to doing more work then? And did you see a changing perception now about Indian actors being cast there as well? Because earlier it was कि अरे brown person चाहिए, token person चाहिए तो ले आओ इनको. Now that's changing.
Well, I think it depends on project to project. Or is it? Yeah, I think that is really the golden question. Firstly, I never intended on living abroad. I always want to work everywhere. Life has I think life has prepared me like that. Moving from place to place every 2 to 3 years. I feel like everything was always leading up to this. I just didn't know it. So yes, I'm always open to working anywhere in the world, and there's always conversations until something formalizes, and I don't just want to do bit parts here and there. One wants to be part of something that justifies your time, just your investment, all of that good stuff now. And I really do love working in India as much, if not more. There's nothing more delicious than being able to speak your own language and, connecting with the people I know as mine. And so, yes, Indian actors or actors of color, as we are called internationally sometimes. Of course, the demand and supply is exponentially higher and better because of, I think, the OTT world expanding so much. It's not called OTT abroad. They're just series and all of that. So I think it's only natural this, cross-pollination kind of happens. It's just expanded more now, and it's more visible because of so much more work that people are watching. How many of us watch Korean shows? Yeah. Did we ever talk about that? No, we didn't. There is just so much going on that, is very interesting.
Well, before we, of course, end and head straight into the Shakti Awards and the Honorable Chief Minister's session, we'll end with a quick rapid fire.
Go for it.
Ready? Your favorite, you answered this earlier, but favorite cuisine?
But mama's food. My mom makes.
अच्छा मम्मा जो भी वो बनाए mama's cuisine.
Yes, mama's cuisine.
Beaches person, mountains person.
Mountains, taller the better.
Okay. Favorite holiday destination?
Uttarakhand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When I अच्छा उत्तराखंड के लिए देखो तालियां बज रही हैं. When I say forge, what comes to your mind?
Home. Forge is home.
Yeah. True. And finally then, style to you. What does that mean?
Originality. Style is originality, and not trying to be something you're not, or emulating someone you're not.
And are you someone who also watches projects and says, I wish I was in that, or no?
I am in those projects.
What a way to end. Fantastic. And let's hope that continues, Nimrat Kaur. Let's hope you continue doing these path-breaking projects. Congratulations to you once again on winning the NewsX Shakti Award for Excellence today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it for Nimrat Kaur, our special guest for this session.
All right, Uday, thank you so much. And the Chief Minister of Delhi, Srimati Rekha Gupta, has arrived, and she'll be just entering the hall very, very shortly. I'll request our editorial director, Priya Sehgal, to come and join us on stage. Priya ji, if I could request you, Priya ji, could I request you just to join us on stage? We're expecting the Chief Minister of Delhi just to walk into the auditorium. We'll have a brief interaction with her, and of course after that she will be presenting her series of the Shakti Awards, including to a lot of the personalities you've already heard speaking through the course of the morning. She, of course, represents in Delhi a succession of women chief ministers who are transforming the national capital. A lot of dramatic developments have been happening. If you've been tracking recent developments from Delhi, well, you know that a 5,100 crore scheme has been announced for women in the capital. There is also a movement, as you know, to clear up the Yamuna